Hi, I'm Martin McGill. I'm down here in the South Finger reed bed. I've got young reed warblers to my left, young kingfishers to my right, and I'm stuck in the middle of you. With you, even. Welcome to another Wildlife Weekly. Well, this week around the reserve and centre, it's all about chicks. We're going into the summer period, so there's lots of chicks and ducklings appearing. Certainly things like the oystercatchers, lapwing. We've got the greater flamingo chicks hatching out, and of course things like gadwall, which can be found in different parts of the reserve. On the warmer days, we are seeing some of the dragonfly and damselfly species on the wing. There's lots of azure and common blue damselflies. And we've also got the first scarce chasers starting to emerge, but over the coming weeks it's going to get better and better for these insects. Well, this week we're really wanting to focus on oystercatchers. These lovely pied waders nest around the site. Going back a few weeks, we pointed out a pair which were nesting on the roof of Mammal HQ. I'm delighted to announce that they've actually hatched their chicks. They've got two young up there on the green roof, so they're walking around feeding on the roof itself, and the male's dropping down, bringing back worms to feed the chicks. Now at some point they've got to take the leap of faith. These chicks are going to have to jump off the roof. It's something that we've already seen elsewhere on site. They have nested on the Discovery hide at the South Lake, and these chicks have leapt off and they're fine. The parents are feeding them. But one piece of very unusual behaviour we've witnessed this week is that they've actually adopted a much larger chick from a different brood. Now, they might have had a sort of reaction to a predator at some point, and the two broods have got mixed up, and this pair with the small chicks have now adopted one which is much larger, and this is easily seen from the South Lake Discovery hide. It's happening right in front of you, and you can see the mismatch in the size of the chicks, but they all seem very happy. Another bird that you see a lot of at the moment is the reed warbler. When they arrived in the early spring, the reeds hadn't grown. They're very much hidden away in there. You can hear them occasionally, and as the reeds grow, they build their confidence and start to sing from higher and higher up in the reed stems. But right now, there's lots of reed warblers here feeding young. If you go to any of our hides which have reeds in front of them, you're going to see reed warblers, at the very least hear them. And while we're filming right now, there's reed warbler flying behind Sam here and going up into the hedge, collecting food and going back to feed its chicks just down here. There's also reed warbler on territory in the reeds just behind me. It's been singing away on and off all the way through the day. So reed warblers can sing as they move about while they're feeding and going about their business through the day. There's lots of activity with reed warblers this week. Now, to take you away from all this lovely, dense, lush vegetation, all this growth around the sort of inner part of the reserve, to go out onto the estuary, there's lots of birds still to be seen out there. There's ring plover and dunlin, which have been hanging around on the mud flats recently. And also the shelduck are still out there, sieving their way through the mud, waiting for the tides to work their magic each day. So it's worth wandering out to Middle Point and just have a look and see what you can see out on the mud flats. Now I'm going to hand you over to Mark Roberts. I have to say the aviculture team have done a fantastic job with the greater flamingo colony. You get stupendous views of these chicks in there, and he'll tell you a little bit more about what's happening in amongst the greater flamingos and their nests.
Hi, my name's Mark Roberts. I'm the avicultural manager here at Slimbridge Wetland Centre. I'm stood outside of our new Flamingo Lagoon exhibit, home to over 250 greater flamingos here at Slimbridge. We're very excited at the moment because for the first time since they've been moved to this new exhibit, they've actually bred. It is a little bit like the aligning of the planets. We need a prolonged period of nice weather, a little bit of rain to make sure the nesting colony is damp enough for them to actually nest build, and also to make sure that we manage the area and make sure the flamingos get as least disturbance as possible. But usually when that first egg laid, the rest of the birds would follow suit, and before long we'll have the whole colony nesting. Unfortunately though, we have to keep a close eye on the eggs and make sure that there's no way they're going to get predated, but that's been made very easy to us by using dummy eggs. Now you might wonder what these little things are for. They actually save dozens of eggs potentially every year at Slimbridge. Every time a flamingo egg's laid, we'll nip over quickly, put a dummy one on the nest, take the real egg away, and we artificially incubate it up in the duckery. And what's great about that is it means that flamingo's egg is safe for the whole of the incubation period. But as soon as the egg's close to hatching, we'll bring the egg back to the parent, take the dummy egg away and let her hatch the egg herself and rear the chick. And what's great about that, it just means for the whole incubation period, the egg's safe from any potential predation. And it's paid real dividends this year, and that we've had a really good hatch rate with all of the flamingos, lost very few if any eggs. And at this current moment in time, we've got around about 12 or 13 chicks hatching, with plenty more due to hatch over the next week or so. What's so awesome though about the flamingos breeding so close to the new flamingo hide is that people actually get a chance to see some of the things that only we were ever lucky enough to see when we went over to the colony. I mean, for example, when a flamingo chick hatches, it actually eats some of its eggshell to make sure that it gets a calcium boost. And when you first see it, it's quite a strange thing to see. We're not used to that looking after wildfowl. Wildfowl don't do that sort of thing, but seeing the flamingos do that is now something that anybody can come and see. They can get within a couple of meters of the hatching chicks or the breeding colony and just see all the things that we were so privileged to see in previous years.
Just make a short mention on the leucistic grey-lag goose that we have on site. It's can be seen anywhere, but it's basically where the pigmentation in the plumage is lacking and it hasn't got the sort of normal colours, and it ends up becoming sort of coffee coloured or very pale, sort of washed out. And we've got a nickname for it. We do call it latte glag because it was coffee colour, but it's starting to become whiter now. Very interesting bird. It's worth mentioning crane cam. Do tune in and see what's going on. The cranes are still doing very well out there. The pair are still feeding the chick. It's growing rapidly despite the grass growing. When it's stood upright, you can just see the top of its head and neck sticking out of the grass. So worth tuning into that to see what's happening. As ever, we like to talk about the weather. As soon as we started thinking about the weather, it changed from a nice sunny day to it's drizzling again. But this could actually produce something interesting in the way of a migrant dropping out of the sky. We're reaching a period now where it's a bit of a changeover. Birds have kind of got as far north as they're going to go. Birds aren't really coming back south. It's what we call the doldrums, really, not too much in the way of migration. Having said that, anything that does show up at this time of the year could be pretty amazing. So we're still keeping a close eye on what's happening about the reserve. If you want to keep up to date with potential news of migrants dropping out of the sky, for example, then do find us on Twitter. We have the @Slimbridge Wild account, which gives you the wildlife sightings bang up to date, and that is pretty much updated daily. Otherwise, do try and find us on the website for further details, and you'll be able to keep up to speed with what's going on.